Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. So in today's video, we are going to be talking Montreal Canadian prospects. So I figured I might do this every couple months. We'll take a look at how they are doing in their respected league. So I think we'll go position by position. So we'll start with goaltenders. So if we take a look at Emmett Croteau, playing in Dartmouth in the NCAA. He was drafted in the 6th round in 2022, 21 years of age, 6'4", and so far in 4 games, he has a .970 save percentage and 0.75 goals against average. Last season, in his first year in college, he had played 18 games, a .210 and a .203 save percentage. So I think he'll probably project. He might get a couple games, but I don't think he'll really be like franchise starter. He might be a fringe backup, probably a fringe backup. So moving on to the next one, Quentin Miller playing at the University of Denver in the NCAA. He's 20 years old, 6'3", 190. He was drafted in 2023 in the 4th round, 128th. And so far, the University of Denver, he's played 13 games, has a 1.96 goals against average, and a 928 save percentage. He's off to a really good start. He's basically the last 2 years, especially going back to his days in the queue with Rimouski, before he left over to go to the BCHL, a 917 in 15 games. And then last year with Chilliwack Chiefs, 10 games, he had a 923 with a 2.29 goals against average. Now, Quentin Miller is definitely, I would say for me, a little bit more of a higher upside goaltender in my opinion. I have been able to watch highlights in a couple of his games. I like the way he controls the net. I think he might be more backup than um, any other goalie they have in the system in terms of I think he'll probably get some NHL games. Now, what he'll do in those NHL games, I don't know. But I still think he is a very underrated prospect in the Habs system. So moving on now, we have Alexis Cornier playing at Cornell in the NCAA. 6'4", 205 pounds. He's 19. He was drafted last year in the 5th round, 145th overall. And as what the Elite Prospect says here, at 6'4", Cornier is one of the bigger goalies in the smaller class and uses his pads to seal the ice better than most junior goalies. He also uses his length as an advantage and is patient on plays coming off the post. And I cannot agree more with that. That is like, he is like, if you look, yeah, 8 games, 1.39 goals against average, and a 947 save percentage. That is ridiculous. If he can keep that up, he might. I don't think he'll win the goalie of the year award for the NCAA, but I think he'll definitely nominee for sure. As you can see, last year when he went to the queue for playing with Cape Breton, he played 21 games, had a 1.82 goals against average, and a 942 save percentage with 3 shutouts, and then he went to Turo Bearcats in the MJHL. Played 21 games, had a 2.83, a .927 save percentage. For me, Alexis Cornier, I think could be a fringe starter. If he continues to play like this and he develops, I don't know how good of a team Cornell is. I don't know what their system is like in their development. I'm not sure. If you know more, you can let me know in the comments. But I think they might have something in Alexis Cornier. Moving on to the next one, we have Arseny Radkov playing in the queue right now for Blainville. He was drafted last year, of course, just like the other guy, in the 3rd round, 82nd overall. And what Elite Prospects has to say here is Radkov has a smoothness to his game that comes across in his skating and how he moves from side to side, especially when tracking passes or players carrying the. We look at his stats. Obviously, he is going to be going to the University of Massachusetts. But so far in the queue, he has struggled. 18 games, uh, 3 goals against average, and a .898 save percentage with a record of 10-5-2. Again, I mean, like, if you look at his stats in the MHL in Russia, he had a 918. Year before that, he had a 667, but only 2 games. And then, a 921 in the under for the under 18s. So again, I don't know. Maybe he'll be a fringe backup, but I think most likely an AHL goaltender. He is only 18, so you kind of have to give him some time. But I think AHL goaltender to fringe backup, I guess. Next up, we have Yevgeny Volkin. He's also in Russia right now in the VHL, drafted in 2023 in the 5th round, 144th overall. He is a So in the VHL, he's played 19 games, has a 1.72 goals against average and a 936 save percentage. And like, I think the Canadiens are loaded in goalie prospects. I think this is probably their depth, like most depth position that they have. And I think they might be able to use that to their advantage if any other scouts out there or teams are paying attention to these prospects. I think who knows what you can get for them. Next up, we have Mikis Vasvanix. Not sure, I don't think I'm pronouncing that wrong. He's obviously playing for the new team in Newfoundland. In the queue, he is 6'3", 19 years old. He was drafted in 2024 in the 5th round. Take a look at his stats. Obviously, he's going to be going to the University of Maine. But so far in the queue, not so well. And he hasn't really played good at all since coming over from Latvia. 6 games, a 3.86 goals against average, and a .850 save percentage. Last year, he played in the BCHL, 881 save percentage, 3.18 goals against average. And then comes over to the Q, plays 9 games, 4.38 goals against, and a .867 save percentage. I don't really know. He might be AHL, probably stays in Europe. We'll see how he does that in university at the University of Maine. You just never know with goalies. Goalies are voodoo. You just never know if they're going to develop. And goalies take a lot longer to develop, so you can never really know for sure how it's going to be. Next up, obviously, I think we have the franchise goaltender of the future, Jacob Fowler. Obviously, currently playing in Laval. He was a 3rd-round pick in 2023, 69th overall. Nice. And so far with Laval in 13 games, he has a 2.15 goals against average and a .920 save percentage with 3 shutouts and a record of 9-4-0. Obviously, if you look at his college stats with Boston College, it's just ridiculous. If you don't know anything about Jacob Fowler, you should know he's probably going to be the number 1 guy in Montreal, and I don't think we're going to have to wait too long for that to happen. So these are the goaltenders of the Montreal Canadiens. What do you think? Next up, we'll look at the defenseman. First, the defenseman we're going to take a look at is Daniel Sobolov. He is 22. He is playing in the VHL in Russia. He was a 5th-round pick in 2021. He did play in the OHL with Windsor, Niagara, and Brentford, putting up some decent numbers for a defenseman, but you obviously want more. He went back to Russia last year, played in the VHL. He has gotten some KHL time, putting up 2 points in 19 games. I haven't really paid attention too much to him, but I don't really think there's much, and I wouldn't really expect him to come over, especially considering he came over, played in the O, and then went back to Russia. We'll see though. You never really know. Next up, we have Dmitry Vazentenko. He's 23, so a little bit on the older side. He was drafted in 2021 in the 3rd round, 87th overall. Obviously, he's also playing in Slovakia. Apologies. He's played 14 games and has 8 points, goal, and 7 assists. I think you just never know. He hasn't really come over to North America, so you don't know how his game is going to transition. But I think he might be something, he might not be anything. Obviously, I'm just now starting to get into prospects and trying to pay attention a little bit more, so take my opinion, take what I'm saying with a little grain of salt. Well, actually, a lot of grain of salt. I just want to talk about Habs prospects because I think a lot of people um only focus on the top end guys like Michael Hage, uh, Adam Engstrom, David Steinbacher, Jacob Fowler. But I want to give some notice to the other players of prospects that might make the NHL, who might not. You never know. Next up, we have Maxim Vig playing in the NCAA. He was drafted last year in the seventh round. He's 20 years old, so again, another overage draft pick that the Habs have been doing. So far at college, he has 18 games played, 3 goals, 1 assist for 4 points. Last season, he had 32, 24, 47, 22 as the previous years. Again, I don't know what to think of him. Obviously, he puts up a decent amount of points for a defenseman, so if he can pick up the points in college, who knows? But then again, he's playing at not a really well-known school, at least here in Canada. I don't think I've ever heard of this place before. Um, Next up, we have Andrew McNeil playing for Kitchener in the OHL. He's 18, drafted last year in the sixth round. If we take a look at his stats, he's put up 4 points, so he's already passed his season high from last year. He's projected to have 12 points the rest of the way. He's definitely more of a defensive defenseman. Um, he definitely like someone who needs a little bit more work defensively, like his awareness, but I think he might have the tools to be at least the seventh defenseman in the NHL. Again, you never know. He's only 18. Like, give him a couple years until he's like 21, 22. It's kind of like goaltenders. Defensemen just they take a little bit more time to develop. Next up, we have Rasmus Bergqvist. He is a defenseman, of course, drafted in the seventh round of 2024. He's 20 years old. He's playing in Sweden in the SHL. So far in 22 games, he has no points in the main league, but for the under 20s, he has 2 goals, 1 point, or 1 assist, 3 points in 2 games. He's on pace for 27 points in 18 games for the under 20 team. Again, you just never know. Again, Elite Prospects has him more defensive defenseman, and I agree with that. I don't I don't think if he can improve his offensive game, like his breakout passes and his just passing in general and his offensive awareness, I think he'd be pretty solid. Again, another probably seventh, sixth defenseman, maybe. Next up we have Carlos Handel playing for Halifax in the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League. He's right-handed, so another right-handed defenseman. Taken 2025 in the sixth round. Obviously, if you watch preseason, a lot of Habs fans on Twitter did not like him at all, and I definitely saw that he was not close to being able to keep up with the NHL pace at all in preseason. But so far in 24 games in Halifax, he has 12 points. He's on pace for 32. He had 26 last year with 3 goals, so he's on pace to get more goals and more assists, which I think is good. You want to see that improvement year in, year out. He will be playing for the German team at the World Juniors, so be able to keep an eye on him if you're a Habs fan. Next up, we have Owen Protz, and I'm excited. He is awesome, in my opinion. I don't know what he'll turn out to be, but he is 6'2", fourth round, and obviously, as you can see, heavy hitter, physical defenseman, and boy, he is violent out there on the ice, and I just that type of physicality, I think you kind of have a route to the NHL. What he does with it, we'll have to wait and see, but I think he'll at least get some NHL games. Looking at his stats, though, he has 25 games played, 2 goals, 9 assists, 11 points. He's projected for 29 points, 24 assists, 5 goals. Decent for defenseman that is more described as a physical and heavy hitter, and even like his penalty minutes being only 20 at 25. We'll see how that progresses throughout the season. Next up, we have Luke Middlestat, of course, the brother of Casey Middlestat. He was drafted in the 7th round in 2023. When this pick was made, I thought he was underrated at the time, but now in his couple of years of college, I don't know if he's gonna get signed by Montreal at the end of the season. I think his rights expire in August 15th, I believe. But I think they sign probably not. If anything, it's probably a AHL contract with Laval. And next up here is one of, in my opinion, Montreal's top prospect is Bogdan uh, Konyashikov. He is right-handed and he is highly touted, and for good reason. He is 15 points in 34 games for the KHL. He's wearing a letter. And I think if he comes over and you could have him on a third pair with like a Caden Gooley, a Jaden Struble, or Adam Engstrom, who we'll talk about in a second. I think he can solidify that bottom pair, and I think he's definitely going to be an NHL player. Like 90% if he comes over, he's making the NHL. His defensive awareness and his defensive game, I think, is going to just sling him right up to the NHL. Next up, we have Bryce Pickford, who is right-handed again, so drafted last year in the 3rd round, and he has put up the points this year for Medicine Hat. Of course, was named captain at the beginning of the year. He has 15 goals, 16 assists, 31 points for a defenseman. That is ridiculous. And I think he's now starting to get his name up with the with Montreal Canadian fans in terms of his uh, prospect ranking, I guess you can say. And I'm really, really excited for him. I think he'll probably get to Laval at the end of the year, maybe not. I guess he's 19. We'll see. When was his birthday? August, April 2nd. So maybe he'll play a couple AHL games at the end of the season. But I think keep an eye out on Bryce Pickford. And of course, Adam Engstrom, who has played a couple games in the NHL. He's back with Laval right now. He was a 3rd round pick in 2022. He's a moving defenseman, two ways Elite Prospects describes him. In the NHL, obviously, he played 2 games. He definitely has a weird, I don't remember if it was a shot or like his passing, but like if you watch the highlights of those 2 games, you'll definitely get what I mean. I've seen it on Twitter too a couple of times, so you can take a look there too. Um, but last year for Laval, 27.66 games. He had 22 as a defenseman with Rogla in the SHL. And actually, this season he has 14 points in 18 games with Laval. He's on pace for 54, which is just going to smash last year. And I think, again, he's someone like maybe he's a top 4 defenseman, but I definitely think he's going to be more suited on that third pair. If he can work out his defensive game a little bit more, again, like I said, an Engstrom Bogdan pairing would be fantastic, in my opinion. And up next, obviously, we have 5th overall pick, David Reinbacher, who a lot of people have already started to say he's a bust. He is not a bust. The injuries have obviously stalled his development of where they probably would have wanted him to be. Obviously, the whole debate of picking Michkov. Who knows if they take Michkov? Do they get Demidov? Do they take Demidov? I don't know. I think if he can stay healthy, and as if we'll take a look at his stats, he's put up 9 points in 13 games. If he can stay healthy, play a full season in the AHL this season, start next year in the AHL, I have no doubt in my mind he will get a call up next year. Who knows? Maybe he'll make the team out of camp. He stays healthy this entire year. He plays like the 64 games he's projected, and Laval makes the playoffs and he gets like some experience there. I think it's gonna do him wonders. So now we're gonna take a look at the wingers. So I'll get that set up and then we'll bring it right back. So now looking at the wingers and centers, they didn't really have that many left wingers unsigned. Also, I'm mainly focusing on the players that are out of Europe or playing in junior. So I have taken a couple of the ones that are in the AHL, as you'll see if you've watched the video. Which, if you're still watching at this point, thank you so much. I know I'm practically just babbling over and over. Like I still appreciate you watching and sitting through. So the first winger, or I guess forward prospect we are going to talk about is Alexander Gordin. He's a right wing center. He was drafted in the sixth round in 2020. He's 24, so he is what he is. He hasn't really been able to stick in the KHL, and at this point, you probably would want him to. He has put up some decent numbers for in the VHL, but I don't think he'll come over, nor do I think he will become something. When he was first drafted, I thought he was a pretty interesting prospect. Now, at the age of 24, not being able to stick in the KHL, which you would want him to do at this point to even think about him potentially having a shot at making the Habs lineup. I just think they're too deep at that winger spot that it's gonna make no sense. Next up, we have Makar Cannon playing in the VHL. He's 20, a right winger. He was drafted in the seventh round in 2024, and so far he's played in the VHL with St. Petersburg's, I guess, development team. Has 5 points in 13 games. He's only projected to put up 15, which is a little low for someone who's a winger. But if you can look at his stats, like he's never really been like a player to put up points. I mean, he had 27 here, put up 9 right here in the MHL. So who knows? I think he's an underrated prospect. He might come something, he might not, but he has a great flow on him. Can't take that away from him. And here is the talk of the Habs prospects right now. Alexander Zarowski, right winger, 18, obviously Russian, was drafted in the second round last year, 34th overall. And boy, oh boy, is he a player. I think he is top six guaranteed. That's a second line. And in my opinion, I think eventually the first line is probably going to be a combination of Slavkovsky, Suzuki, Demidov. So having Cole Caulfield and uh, Zawarski with any type of centerman that they bring in to be the second line, if it's Michael Hage, oh, chef's kiss. That second line is gonna cook. I know a lot of people don't really think of Caulfield being on the second line, but I just think Slavkovsky and Demidov's games fit a lot more better. And I think if you put Suzuki in the middle, it's just gonna help out a lot more, especially on the defensive side. Which, if you take a look at the analytics for Demidov, his defense has actually been pretty good this season. And same thing for Slavs. Like his defensive game has improved drastically from year to year, just like Caulfield's did when Martin St. Louis took over. Next up, we have Tyler Thorpe, obviously playing in the AHL. He's 20, right winger, 6'5". He's a big boy. He was drafted in the 2024 fifth round. And with Laval, he has struggled, only putting up 2 assists. I don't really pay attention too much to Laval games. I've tried to watch the highlights and stuff if I can find them on YouTube. Um, so I don't really know how he's done particularly. If like he's just not a player, who knows? Because you can be like not putting up points, but like you can be an impact player defensively, like banging bodies, like other stuff away like that. It might not reflect on the score sheet. But I don't know enough about him. But I figured I'd talk about him because he is in the AHL and he's 20. So who knows? We'll see. He's only 20. He can still develop. Ty Smalek, of course, playing in the ECHL. Was drafted by Florida. Of course, Montreal acquired him in the uh was it the Ben Sherratt trade? I don't remember. But so after spending 3 seasons in the NCAA, not really putting up the best of numbers if you're a forward, has not been able to crack Laval. 31 games in the ECHL, he's probably not going to become anything if we're honest. Probably a lifetime EHLer, AHLer, not much in the NHL in my opinion. Jack Smith, NCAA, of course, drafted in 2020. Um, his rights expire at the end of the season too. Again, forward in the NCAA, you kind of want more points than what he's been able to do, especially as a center. I don't know if he's playing center for the Minnesota State University, but so far this season, 7 points in 16 games, not bad. We'll see. I doubt they're going to sign him. He's probably going to be a free agent in August. Next up, we have Ben Merrill. He's 26'4", so another big body. He's a heavy shooter by elite prospects. He is playing at the Boston University. He has 7 points in 15 games. Last season with the BCHL, he had 50 games played, 20 points, 15 goals. So as you can see, definitely more sniper. So if he can start putting up the puck in the back of that in the college ranks, maybe he becomes something. But again, at the age of 20, we'll see. You never know. Now we have Philip Eriksson. He was drafted in the 6th round in 2023, more of a two-way center. That's how I would have described him too. So far he's playing in the SHL for Luli. I'm so bad with those pronunciations. I apologize. If you can tell me how to pronounce that, I would very much appreciate it in the comments. He has 18 points in 25 games, which obviously, if you take a look at last year for Vaxshow, he put up only six points. Here's the 18 already. He's on pace for 38 points. If he can keep this up next year and the year after, I think we might have to have a conversation about him potentially getting into the Habs bottom six, especially once Gallagher, Anderson, Veleno, uh, Hexier are all gone and off the team, hopefully. And next up, we have Sam Harris, who has been making a name for himself in the college ranks this year, if you've been paying attention. He was drafted 2023 in the 5th round. Um, he has 12 points in 15 games. I guess he started off hot. I guess he must have cooled down, but 12 points in 15 games, he had 35. So if he can stay above the 30 to 40 point range, again, you never know. He might become something. Next up, we have Logan Sawyer, another two-way center, a workhorse. So if he's gonna make the NHL, it's gonna be a fourth liner, and I think, in my opinion, he's gonna make the NHL as depth player at the minimum. 13 points in 15 games this season, 16 last year, and 37. But I think just his overall game fits a fourth line that I think Martin St. Louis, if he's still the head coach of Montreal at the time, I think is going to appreciate his type of game very well. Now we have our short king, LJ Mooney. He is a winger, dangler, yep. Speedster, yep. He has put up 13 points in 18 games at the University of Minnesota in the NCAA. Last season he had 28. Obviously, when the Habs drafted him, a lot of people consider it a steal, and I still consider it a steal. I think he'll be a top 9 forward in the NHL, in my opinion. I know he's only 5'7", but as we've seen, Cole Caulfield, Alex DeBrincat, Martin St. Louis, height does not mean success in the NHL is guaranteed, or you're not going to succeed in the NHL because you're 5'7". I think I think his hands and just his play style, I think he's going to be fine. He will make it. Next up, we have Adeos Koivu, of course, Saku Koivu's son. He is a two-way center, and I would agree with that. So far in La Liga, he has 7 points in 27 games for TPS. Last season, he had only 8. But again, this defensive game, I think, if he ever does make it to the NHL, and he'll probably definitely come over at some point. I mean, it's Zach Koivu's kid. Nepotism. I'm kidding. Um, he'll definitely at least be in Laval. Do I think he gets to the NHL? Probably. Namesake, obviously. But again, he's only 19. Still has some time to fill out that frame. He's 6 feet, but it's 170 pounds. You probably want him to be up to the 180, 195 area to see if he's going to be a bottom sixer. Next up, we have Hayden Bonicus, if I said that correctly. Again, a 6'5", 203 pounds, 18 years old. Is considered a defensive center, energy forward, PK specialist, and boy, does Montreal need some PK helpers. I'm not saying that they're having a bad PK, obviously, but I think they need some extra help. 24 points, 39 games last year for Spokane. Got traded to Kelowna, put up 19 and 32. And then this season, 11 and 18, projected for 37. A lot of penalty minutes. But again, he's that energy forward, physical forward, power forward type of player. Again, I think he's definitely someone to keep an eye on if he can continue to develop year after year. So I wouldn't mark him as a not going to make the NHL. I think he has a chance. Next up, we will talk about Vinny Warhe. Of course, playing in the National League for the ZS Lions, where Austin Matthews played. He was drafted in the 3rd round in 2022. He had a really successful year. You might say only 25 points, but like, well, that's a little low. But in terms of playing with men and against men, 25 points is very respectable. 19 the previous year, and then of course, if you look at this season, 5 points, 20 games, a little underwhelming, especially considering this. So we'll have to keep an eye on him. But I still think he can be an impact player. Probably will join Laval at the end of the year. So hopefully he'll be able to help Laval's playoff push. And of course, at the World Cup, he put up 6 points in 8 games. He's been a really impact player for Austria. Of course, David Reinbach, who is going to be playing with Austria. And of course, last off, but we saved the best for last. Michael Hage. What a story he is. Drafted 21st overall, 2024. Yeah, 26 points in 18 games. He had 34 and 33 last year. He is probably going to be signing an NHL contract this season. I think he's going to come over, and he's probably going to play I guess we'll have to see how the playoffs go. But he'll definitely be either be playing with Laval at the end of the year to help out Laval's playoff push, or I think he'll be joining the Montreal Canadiens. It's going to be an Ivan Demidov, Cole Caulfield. They're going to be at the NHL by the end of the season for sure if there is time. So, I hope you enjoyed. I love talking prospects. Obviously, I'm not really good with speaking or clarifying on stuff about players. I'm still learning, and the only way you learn, you gotta do it. So, I know this video was probably not the best. If you watch it, probably be like, "Oh, you didn't really say much or tell us much about these players." But I'm still getting into the prospects. I do a lot of NHL roster writing, so I have to look into them. Now it's just about trying to be able to actually use my brain, my hockey brain. But yeah, if you watched the entire video, thank you so much. I appreciate you to the full extent. If you did enjoy, please leave a like. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will catch you in another video. Hope you all have a great rest of your day. Ciao.
Please tell me that I can't, that I won't, that I fail, that I'll never make it out, yeah. Please tell me all the bad, never good, fill my head full of every single doubt, yeah. Please say any negative thoughts, I pop off when I hear people say I cannot. I get off to the thought of proving everyone wrong, I won't stop to the top, so you better back off and get lost. I'ma stay loud, stay proud, never running